Hi, this is Tom Rhodes. Please join me as I scour the four corners of the earth to bring you interesting and intelligent, funny people who will enrich your life with wisdom and laughter. I'll take you to Europe, Australia, all over America. I might take you to the peaks of Machu Picchu, the canals of Amsterdam, the Great Wall of China, or the swamps of Florida, and certainly the many, many comedy clubs and comedy theaters all over the world. Come hang out with me and meet the many interesting people that pop up in my life as I travel the world as a stand-up comedian.
You're listening to Tom Rhodes Radio.
Karate kick, baby.
Rock and roll.
Welcome to Tom Rhodes Radio.
Welcome to Tom Rhodes Radio Smart Camp.
Otherwise known as the Smoochy and Smoochy Radio Hour. What do you think? Do you like that name?
It's nighttime in the city.
And Bob Dylan has got some things to say.
That's from the Bob Dylan Radio Hour.
We still listen occasionally to the Bob Dylan Theme Time Radio Hour. I love that program.
And it's awesome.
We got like 30, 40 of those episodes on CD, and we still pop those on once in a while.
Yes, I love it.
And the opening is, "It's nighttime in the city." This really sexy woman's voice.
Well, first you hear the sounds of New York or something.
Yeah, like a siren and traffic, bus or something.
It's nighttime in the city. Yeah, I have a cold. I can't do it.
Yeah, so I had a cold 2 weeks ago, and I think I actually got my cold at Gatorland in Orlando. I got a private tour of Gatorland because this guy, really nice guy, he's a muralist at Gatorland. He gave me and my mom a private tour. And then I was let into the white alligator cage. And the guy went in and he yelled at it and it didn't move. So I got to go inside the enclosure with this white alligator. And I took a cool photo. I posted it.
On Instagram?
But I actually think, and I had not been that nervous since my first open mic night. I was literally, my sphincter was as tight as it could possibly be. And I think that white alligator got me sick.
What is a white alligator?
Like an albino alligator?
No, really?
Yeah.
So it was a special...
Yeah, like very rare alligators. I think they've got 3 of them there. And I think there's a name that's not actually an albino, but for the less educated zoologists like myself, I would call it an albino alligator. So I was completely wiped out when I was in Tampa, and now I finally start feeling better a few days ago, and now you're got
a little bit of a cold.
You're feeling sick. So this has been like a really nasty year for the flu, and I know that's what hit me. So,
well, you were really sick.
Yeah, I was wiped out, like fever.
The whole week.
And
like a solid week.
Normally, I'll get like a cold for like a day or one day, but this was like an entire week. I couldn't leave the house and was wiped out.
Yeah.
While I was in Tampa.
And it was hot over there.
It was hot.
Don't you hate it when you're sick and it's hot outside? Your body saying, "Hey, what the fuck? Something is wrong."
Yeah. Yeah, and you got a head full of snot.
French. Yeah.
And right now, as we speak, another big, massive snowstorm is hitting the East Coast. A massive snowstorm hit Europe for the first time in over 10 years.
The Vatican was in snow.
Yeah, they showed snow at the Vatican. For the first time in over 10 years, the canals in Amsterdam froze.
Yeah.
So that's cool to see all the photos posted online of people ice skating. Because like the whole time I lived in Amsterdam, I remember it snowed a couple years when I was there. And it was great to see Amsterdam in the snow. But I wanted the canals to freeze. And I never got to see that.
Yeah, so it's finally happening. It's great because all the old Dutch paintings are of skating people.
Yeah, on the canals.
I mean, not all. I mean, some. Yeah, and so it's gorgeous that it froze again after all these years.
Did you ever see the canals freeze in Rotterdam? You ever get...
Yes, we lived actually. So there's a big river, and it's called the Maas, and our house our view was on the Maas. It was maybe let's say 10 steps from our house to the Maas.
Yeah, but that was like a canal, right?
That's a canal, yeah. And that canal froze every winter.
Every winter.
Yes, it was fun.
As little kids, you got to run out there and slide around and stuff.
No, we wouldn't do that because it's dangerous.
Okay.
Because it's a big canal. It's not. It was bigger than the Amsterdam canal, so it was huge, and it was linked to the sea. So you won't do that, you know.
Yeah.
But it froze, and a few people risked doing it, and they stayed on top of it. So, but we never did.
Your mom would slap the shit out of you.
Of course, we were like little tiny. We're from Suriname. We have no idea how to save people who break through the ice.
Not like It's a Wonderful Life. Make a chain, fellas.
No.
My ear, Mr. Gower. Please stop hitting my ear, Mr. Gower. I told you I wrote a great joke in Tampa that Busch Gardens, the amusement park in Tampa, has got probably the most terrifying roller coaster on the planet Earth in Tampa, because once you get up to the very tippy top of the roller coaster, all you can see is Tampa.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It's terrifying to get up there and realize the lack of architecture that has happened in Tampa. From far as the eye can see, Walgreens and Chili's and Big O discount tires.
I love it. We love you, Tampa.
Yeah, we love you, Tampa.
You know that's right.
No, man, and I had fans drive from across the state. Bobby drove up from... Bobby drove up from Coral Gables, wherever he lives. This woman, Gail, drove from across from Cocoa Beach. I had some other people come in from Orlando. It was awesome.
Great.
Yeah.
I love that.
I love that. And then also, did you want to give a shout out?
Yes.
To
Let's give a shout out to our Patreons.
Let's do it.
So you might now ask, hey, Ashna, what do you mean? What's a Patreon? Well, Tom is going to tell you right now.
Patreon.com/Tom Rhodes Radio.
Smart Camp.
Smart Camp. You can be a donor. You can give money. We've got some people at the Golden Buddha level, and we just got a new one. People that give $20 a month. Some people give $10 a month. Some people give $5 a month. It's very lovely, and it's the Rhodesies.
It's kind of like stakeholders, You just, like patron. Like Leonardo da Vinci could only do his paintings when he, when he was he sponsored by the Medici family?
I think, I know he was sponsored by the French king. That's why he ended up.
That's a long time ago.
That's why he ended up in France.
Right. So you need a patron.
Yeah.
You need people to take care of you, to protect you. So we've got a few protectors, patrons, and we would like to give you guys a shout out.
Give our patrons a shout out, Smoochie.
So first of all, I should say, except for being a patron, the highest patron contributors can hang out with Tom for an hour a month.
Oh yeah, on the private.
Well, it sounds weird, but if you have any questions, if you want to talk to Tom,
it's a tutoring session.
It's a tutoring session.
You came up with it, and at first I thought, oh well, that's kind of unorthodox. And then we did our very first one. I did our very first one this past week.
Did you like it?
And I absolutely loved it. This young comedian from Chicago who I met in Paris. And I filled his head with all kinds of information. And he liked it so much, he booked another one. And then
well worth it.
Yeah, and then I have another one with a gentleman in Colorado. Who's not in show business.
So it's going to be about...
Who just wants to talk about whatever. We're going to find
Tom,
out.
I've got a new girlfriend. What should I do?
I'm worried about this business decision I have to make.
Yeah, and that's a cool thing about it. So, if you're a fan of Tom, just try it out. It's fun. See how you like it.
Book an hour conversation with me. That's
Right.
pretty awesome.
It's kind of like hanging out with Tom, hanging out with Tom, right?
Well, when you first proposed the idea, I thought, it's just unusual. And after the first one, I
you
absolutely,
are absolutely enjoying it.
I loved it. And then the hour went by
Too quick?
so quick, and I wanted to just make it so worth every cent for this guy.
Because you're nice. You got a good heart.
I believe in value for money, and
Well, you also love helping people.
that's true.
Yeah. And
That's
that's
true.
what it is. It's whatever you need. Okay, let me try to give my wisdom
Yeah.
to you and
I think we ran like probably
happens.
15 minutes over, something like that. I didn't care, but it's like, I wanted to make it as special and as powerful as I possibly could.
So it's fun. So if you want to do it, go to patreon.com, Tom Rhodes Radio Smart Camp. And now we would like to give a shout out to all our patrons.
Do it, Smoochie.
We love you guys.
Oh, you want me to say thanks to Kristen, thanks to Corey, thanks to Mark and Tamara, thanks to Bobby, thanks to Miriam, thanks to Jasper, thanks to Ken, Aaron, Kim, David, Max, Andy, Andrew, Troy, Alyssa, Eric, Jason, Howard. That's fantastic.
Yes.
That's
The
great.
last few, they officially don't get a reward because it's so sad. But I have a list here, and for the last few, it says no reward. It's so sad, but we think, well, what the hell? We just give them a
What
shout
the
out
hell?
as well.
Those are the dollar people?
The dollar
The people who give $1? Hey,
I love that.
I love it too. I'll give you a shout out for $1.
Yes, and the people who sponsor us for $20 a month will get
A postcard.
handwritten postcard from Tom, wherever he is, with a cool joke.
Yeah. Oh my God. I need to get it together for March and send some.
You're
people.
fine. It's still beginning of March.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's actually my favorite because before he sends it out, I read it and I think, oh my God, that's so cute.
Well, and
You
it's
know,
funny
whatever
too
you-
because like when I write my mom letters, when
Yeah.
I throw it in the mailbox, I always kiss it. And whenever I write the Patreon postcards and I go to the post office, you go, don't forget to kiss it.
Was that a good commercial that people are gonna think, ew?
Well, I'm not gonna say whether or not I kiss the Patreon postcards, but I do kiss everything I mail to my mother.
Yes.
It's sealed with a kiss.
Sealed with a kiss from my heart. Thank you, patrons.
Thank you, patrons. Thanks to you for everyone who continues to come out and see me live. I'm in Calgary this weekend. I'm going to be freezing my ass off. It's like 26 degrees right now. I just packed all my warm undies.
26 degrees?
That's freaking
Woo.
cold. Anything below 39, 40 for me is really, really cold. Unless the canals of Amsterdam have frozen, and then I could put up with cold weather. And then
How
next
cold
week,
was it?
What?
Oh, go ahead.
next week I'm in Sacramento at the Punchline, and then Las Vegas after that, and then I go to do gigs in Asia, and then you're gonna come and meet me in Hong Kong. So we've got some exotic episodes coming up in a
Yes.
few weeks.
Yes. Great.
I'm gonna ride motorcycles in Hanoi. I'm going to Thailand, the Philippines, Vietnam, Singapore, and then Hong Kong. And I'm really looking forward to going back to Hanoi. When we were hanging out with Dave Chappelle, remember? He was really interested in. He almost like dropped everything and went to. I have a feeling Dave Chappelle might go with me and ride motorcycles in Vietnam one day.
Cool.
We'll see. But I'm going to do it. I'm going to test it out.
So how cold was it in Peoria when we
Oh
were
my
there?
God.
Was it minus 40?
No, it was minus something. Remember that? It It was so cold.
It wasn't minus 40? I thought it was minus 40.
I remember you didn't want to leave the hotel
Or minus
for the
30.
weekend.
No, it was minus 30.
Minus 30?
Yeah.
Are you sure it was that
It
cold?
was so cold that actually it was more of an experience for me because I never experienced something so cold. So, wait a minute, minus 30 Fahrenheit, right?
I think it was the wind chill was the minus 30, something like that.
What is Fahrenheit? What is cold in Fahrenheit? Where you go-
freezing is 32 degrees.
Oh.
So that's your zero. So
maybe it was Celsius.
but I think it was actually like minus. It was so cold that year we were in Peoria.
What was
That was
it?
the only time I've ever been to Peoria, and I think it was something ridiculous, like minus 6 degrees, minus
Okay.
8 degrees.
So it was Celsius.
And then
Yeah.
the wind chill factor was like minus 20, minus 30. It was
Okay.
It was
Now
brutal.
I'm confused. But I do have to say that it was unnatural cold, meaning that you could not go outside for more than maybe, let's say, half an hour. You would freeze to death.
You'd freeze to death.
Yeah. So it was that cold. So yeah, I'm sorry, I cannot say it right now which one it is, Fahrenheit or Celsius, but it was dangerously cold. And for me, it was an experience because I'd never been in that cold. I mean, when you walked out, when you open the door and you walk outside, the cold will go in your hair follicles. You know, it was so cold. It would go right through your clothes, and it doesn't matter how many layers you wear. It just goes through it, and it hits your skin. It's so weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember we had to rent a car, and it was getting the heat, like starting the car and running the heat. It would take, like, let's say from the club to the hotel was like a 20-minute drive.
Yeah.
And
it would take 19 minutes to walk.
The heat would just start to work like 1 minute away from the hotel. We would just be absolutely freezing.
And the funny thing is, we ate twice in a restaurant, and we twice ate sushi, which is funny because sushi is cold.
Yeah, and it's funny that Peoria, Illinois, is very far from the ocean, also. But Peoria,
because there was nothing in the neighborhood. We only had that restaurant.
Yeah, and Peoria, Illinois, is where Richard Pryor's from.
Ah.
And Sam Kinison also came from there. But
I wonder where the attractive radiator was.
Attractive radiator? Oh, what? Oh, you're talking about the Quincy Jones saying Marlon Brando would fuck a mailbox?
No, yeah. Who said that?
Quincy Jones recently came out on an interview and said that Marlon Brando had sex with Marvin Gaye and Richard Pryor, and Richard Pryor's widow confirmed the story.
And he said it was the 70s. They would even fuck a radiator.
No. Because he was talking about it's called Vulture. It's some online magazine or some magazine. I read it online, and the interview he's talking about Marlon Brando, and he said, yeah, he was really seductive, and he said, man, Marlon Brando would fuck anything. He'd fuck a mailbox. It wasn't a radiator. It was a mailbox.
I'm gonna find it. Anyways, I like that. I kind of like that they all had sex with each other. It makes me like them more.
Really?
Yeah, I just think it's, they must have had fun and doing drugs and being crazy and talking about art. And
I want to thank you for Streetcar Named Desire, as he goes down on him.
Oh, well, now you're making it too explicit.
Yeah. So that was the coldest you've ever been in Peoria, Illinois?
Yeah. I don't want to go back into that cold because it's so uncomfortable.
That was uncomfortable. Do you remember the time we were in Dallas and this massive snowstorm hit? Yeah,
that was okay. It was not
that cold. It wasn't as cold as
Washington D.C. was cold.
Jesus.
Remember that?
Yeah,
New Year's
Eve.
And when we walked, the wind would smack in our face.
No, that was like freeze your eye socket fluid. It was like painful.
Yeah.
But I remember in Dallas, it was great because we were next to a grocery store and we got snowed in. And I remember in front of the apartment building where we were staying, where they put the comedian, somebody, it was like a big, massive, fresh snow. Remember we had the view on the pool and there was palm trees around the pool and it had snow on it. It was beautiful. This contrasting photo of a pool with palm trees covered in snow. But I remember in front of the building, and it's that building is very close to SMU, Southern Methodist University. Somebody had made a giant dick and balls. Instead of a snowman, they made a giant dick and balls out of snow. And I thought, oh, that was quite a statement by the people who lived there, that they loved penis so much that they crafted a snow penis. That was their first expression of art.
It's the time of the penis when it's cold outside.
It's the time of the penis?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you just like cuddle and have sex or something.
So this was a big week. The Oscars just happened, and I really enjoyed we were invited up. I don't even know is that the Hollywood Hills where we were?
Yeah.
It was up in the Hollywood Hills. It was a really fancy house, and
Beautiful.
met some film producers and the one guy, the Swedish guy who lives in Belgium, produces this show. What's it called? Gunder something?
What? Götterdämmerung.
Götterdämmerung. It's this, what a great show, where Iggy Pop is in it, Grace Jones, Nina Hagen, and it's like a live rock show in front of a silent movie. It's like touring in Europe. He's going to bring it to America. There was a lot of really cool, interesting people at this Oscar party. What did you think?
Yes, and the house was so beautiful. Because we see a lot of beautiful houses, but this one I loved it because it was so light. There were all windows. Half of the house consists of windows, with the view on their pool, and everything was white. And I love white interior.
You love white.
I love white.
We're sitting on white furniture.
Yes, and even the kitchen was white, and those fluffy things on the couch. That's kind of my style. I like it. And wood, combination with wood. So I immediately loved the house with a lot of artifacts from different countries like we have.
Yeah, they liked Hawaii. There was a lot of Hawaiian stuff there too. And we had never met these people. We were invited.
Yeah.
And I thought it was pretty smooth that I brought the big chocolate raspberry cake.
So Tom, actually, no, this was good because we thought, okay, we're going to go to this party. What should we bring? And usually you just bring wine. And I thought, hey, let's bring a chocolate cake from the Whole Foods. So we brought this it's a huge and very high chocolate cake. It was like $20, right?
$24.
It's a good price because, a good, normal, expensive wine as a gift or 2 bottles or just one good one would be the same price. So I think a chocolate cake is such a great
thing to bring to a party. Who's not happy to see somebody walking up with a big chocolate cake? And the woman whose house it was said, oh, that's great. We have lots of food, but we don't have very much dessert.
We both went, yes.
Yes.
Because $24 is just a lot of money for a cake.
Yeah. I don't know if you caught this. I forgot to mention this to you. I should have played this song for you because I haven't.
Wait. I'm not finished with my story.
Okay.
So we brought the cake in, and the cake was nicely set on the kitchen table, which is in the center of the house. But then a few people come and they sat, there was chairs, like a bar. How you call it? Like a bar area of the... Yeah. And there were chairs in front, so they were sitting on the chairs. And I kept staring at the cake, and nobody was touching it. And I'm thinking, shit, we spent a lot of money with the cake. It better be, cracked open.
Yeah.
Somebody should see it, right? So I kept taking my how you say it, keeping my eye on it. And then I went to the bathroom. I came back, and I see Tom eating this huge
I
piece.
cut like a quarter off of the cake. I was like, I wanted that
I'm
chocolate
eating
cake
it.
more than anybody. I wasn't there for the meat. I wasn't there for the potato chips.
Yeah.
But then people dug into it.
Yeah, and then I dug into it.
But I don't know if you caught this little knowledge nugget about that house, or if you. I didn't talk to you about it afterwards. Our friends who invited us, who are television and film directors, he was saying that house, these people who live there now, bought it from Matthew Sweet, and this guy had one hit song, and I guess he bought that house with the money from that song. I don't know. I don't know Matthew's sweet story, but I have that album. I should have played you this. It's one of my all-time favorite songs. The song is called Girlfriend. I gotta get back to my girlfriend because I wanna love somebody. I'm not doing it justice. There's this fucking drum. This drum. We'll end the episode with that song. There's the drum lick in this song is so tight, and just everything about this song. It's like the perfect pop song. It's called Girlfriend.
So the drum lick is so tight, means it's very good drum.
It's just such a great, hot, perfect drum lick. The way the way the drums from start to finish. Yeah.
Okay, so it's his house. Nice.
It used to be his house. These people bought it from Matthew Sweet. And then the album cover of Girlfriend is this beautiful girl with a fuzzy coat, hood, and just her face is sticking through anyway.
Did he get his girlfriend back? I'm just joking.
I don't know. I don't know what happened to we should Google
But
it.
that's the thing. I think if we would be that rich and buy like beautiful house like that, I think I would do that constantly. Just have parties for my friends, make sure that everybody, know each other, that people can network with each other, to bring more art out, have these all these artists to come together and talk about great subject. I would love to do that.
That was cool, and I thought it was a really.
It's contributing to art.
I thought it was a nice collection of people that were at that party too. Everybody, like, you got there and you're like, they just look like regular humans. And then through the course of the evening, talking to people, I was like, oh, you're a film producer. You're a big theatrical music producer. This is.
And they are behind very big, important things.
Yeah.
But I think that's what I explained to my mom when she came here. She said, she wanted to meet all these famous celebrities, and where are the celebrities? I want to see celebrities. And the truth is that celebrities live here, probably in Hollywood Hills. They are working, probably not in Los Angeles too many times. They're always traveling, doing a movie or whatever. They don't come out. They maybe go to great restaurants, big restaurants. But the most people who live here around, Hollywood Hills and stuff, are producers, are industry people, managers, agents. These people are super rich because of these big productions. And they live around here because this is where their job is.
Yeah. Well, do you remember that wonderful French series that we watched, Call My Agent?
Yeah.
You said the French title is called 10%.
Yeah.
Everybody.
10%.
10%. Everybody should watch this series. It's so cool. But that one girl, she goes back to her village where her mom is. The mom is like works in a hair salon, and the mom is like shitting on like the Paris showbiz world. And she's like, and that they're all phony and they got their heads in their ass or whatever. And the girl had worked at this agency for a few years, and she says, "No, Mom, they're regular people with
regular jobs
and regular lives and regular problems."
Yeah.
So that just reminded me of you saying your mom wanted to meet celebrities, and
everybody's working here, I mean, that came out wrong, but yeah, normal people working, trying to get their, new production, new project, new film projects.
Trying to sell
Everybody's,
tickets in Sacramento next
hey
week.
man, Los Angeles is full of hustlers, hustling to the next big project.
It's just like the United States. It's the big hairy ass hustle. Hey, and speaking of series, we just watched, I think it's episode 3 of Dirty Money on Netflix.
I just watched the first episode. I haven't watched television or movies or Netflix.
Yeah.
I think for 2 months.
I watched the first episode the other night, but we just together watched episode 3.
Yeah.
Which is all
It was
about
amazing.
big pharma, these drug companies, and that Martin Shkreli guy.
Shkreli? I
I
should call him Shrek.
Yeah.
Shkreli.
The guy who jacked
Shkreli.
up this AIDS medicine from $13 a pill to $750 a pill.
Yeah.
And he wasn't the only one. How this company Valiant was doing this big scam, and they bought up all these different drugs, and they raised the price on people.
They raised the price of hundreds of drugs. Martin Shkreli did only one drug, right?
Yeah.
So that was criminal and that was disgusting. But Valiant drove up the price of hundreds of medicines.
It's unbelievable. And then at the end of it, they said that nothing has changed. That
It still is, yeah.
Like there's this one pill that these people have been taking, and it used to be 20 years ago, it was like $1 a pill, and now it's like
$200.
$290,000 a year they have to pay just to stay alive.
Yeah, and you might think, oh, you know what? I'm so lucky I don't have the disease that it's not happening to me. Or you say, oh yeah, my pills are cheap. But do you know who's paying for it? We all pay for it because the money is driven up for the insurance.
Because the
health
insurance company's
are
paying for it.
Yeah.
And we all put into the insurance money, so it drives up all of our costs.
Yeah.
So we all pay for it. And they showed the congressional hearings, and like they weren't that hard on those people. They should have said, "You're going to jail, motherfucker."
Yeah.
You know? And then they say a year later nothing's changed.
Nothing has changed. I don't understand why nothing has changed, Because I guess because they do not do anything illegal. Because the law is not set up for criminal things like that. I'm sorry. Now I'm saying it weird, but because it's not criminal. Because
it is illegal. It's called price gouging, and
it's not
now
illegal.
If they take away the regulations on these companies and the guidelines, now they can get away with doing shit like that. But there used to be guidelines in place.
Okay, I'm not sure, but I know that in the documentary, the woman who was doing the hearings said they were actually not doing anything illegal.
Wow.
So.
Man, if you get sick in the United States, you are a goner. You're a dead person. If you can't afford basic medicine, right?
Yeah, if you're one of the unlucky ones that, like the Martin Shkreli drug, that your insurance is not paying for your drug and you have to pay it for yourself, then you're one of the unlucky ones. But for everybody living in the United States who has healthcare, everybody's going to need healthcare at one point at a time. We all are the victims because we have to pay an expensive healthcare. And that's because of all these, big pharmaceutical companies are playing with the money, kind of exactly what happened to the housing industry. That is still happening, that they're just buying up stuff and then making the price
to make
higher.
a profit, and then it's creating this big bubble, and then the bubble collapses.
Yeah, so it's all investors, it's all hedge money, it's all betting on who goes up, who goes down. It's all Wall Street. Gladly there are a few good people around that are trying to investigate these people, the criminals, the companies like Valiant who are doing outrageous stuff. So that's good that there are a few guardians.
Yeah, but doesn't anybody go into the drug business and the medical industry just to do good? Aren't people interested in just doing good for humanity anymore? Why is it? It's all got to be profits and gated communities and fuck the masses of humanity. It's I you know I it's perplexing how so much of American business is squeeze the little guy and
Because where there's profit, there are wolves. In the pharmaceutical branch, there's a lot of profit to make. It's just a lot of money to make. So there's a lot of wolves out there.
Okay, well, speaking of wolves, and if there's any good news this week, that Martin Shkreli guy, he was busted for fraud on a different related case, and he bought this Wu Tang, put out an album, and they wanted to sell it to one person for $2 million, and he bought it, and the government seized a bunch of his assets in this fraud case, and they seized his $2 million Wu Tang album a couple days ago. And there was a video, apparently like Martin Shkreli, Wu Tang had criticized him or something happened. People were upset when he bought this album. Did you know this story?
Yeah.
And he put out some video saying that Wu Tang was washed up or some shit like that. And then so there's a video that came out a couple days ago of one of the Wu Tang guys going, "Who's washed up now?" Or "Look at you, Martin Shkreli." It was like, if you get into a public bitch fight with Wu Tang, it's not too smart. But I thought it was interesting that the guy got his $2 million album taken away.
Yeah, but it's too bad that whatever Valiant is doing, it's still happening, and our healthcare system is still very high. I don't understand why that's not a big media headline thing.
Yeah, that should be. We should be outraged by many things.
Yeah, right?
So after we march for gun control on March 24th, maybe the next weekend, there'll be a march for medical industry reform. I don't think so.
No?
That'd be nice.
Well, you're a comedian. Why don't you talk about it on stage?
Okay, I will.
You guys changed the world.
You're right. You're right. Okay.
You're like the activist with the forks, with the pitchforks,
pitchforks.
go on the street. No more expensive healthcare.
I like the way you think, Smoochie. So, what were the big surprises at the Oscars? Well, I guess
I was pretty right. We did, you, me, and Lucy. We did an interview with her last episode. She's an amazing actress. She got a great
Lucy
one-man
Pohl,
show.
we went to her one-woman show a couple nights ago.
Yes.
Hi Hitler, amazing.
Amazing. So go and listen to that episode. So Lucy, Tom, and I, we made a bet on the Oscars who's gonna win, and I was the winner. I had the most right.
You nailed it, and you picked Shape of Water as the best picture.
Yes, I did. My favorite movie was Three Billboards. What is it? 3 Billboards of Ebbing in Missouri.
3 Billboards outside of Ebbing, Missouri.
Which was not filmed in Missouri.
And you said you looked it up. It was.
No,
filmed.
you looked it up because we watched it.
I said I've been to all over Missouri. I said that was not filmed in Missouri.
You whispered in my ear while we were watching the movie, and you said,
"That's not Missouri.
There are no hills in Missouri."
Not like that. And then you.
And it was the first scene, right?
Yeah.
Because you see those billboards and you see hills.
And then you Google it. It was filmed in Western North Carolina.
Yeah, Lucy Googled it. Yeah, somewhere.
Yeah.
Funny.
So
I guessed Shape of Water because I thought, the political climate is blah de blah. People are getting tired, and I think what they want is to see more of, fantastical escape story. Escapism, yeah. So I thought, that's going to be the big winner.
Well, I wanted Get Out to be Best Picture, because I used to be friends with Jordan Peele back in when I lived in Amsterdam, and he was with Boom Chicago, and I would stop by there and I would talk to him sometimes, and he was the guy I would talk to, and he was a really sweet, nice guy. So it's like, you're cheering for friends of yours to knock it out of the park, and I really did think he invented his own genre in film, which I don't think has happened since Quentin Tarantino first came on the scene in 1992 with Reservoir Dogs. It's like uh, a horror movie that is a statement on racism in contemporary society.
Yeah.
I loved that film, but horror movies never win Best Picture. And then Three Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri was all about hate and how people deal with their hate. And then I had not seen Shape of Water until last night after it won Best Picture. I thought, I should watch this. And then last night watching it, I thought, I understand why it won, because even though it's a fish and it's a woman, it's a love story. Hollywood loves a love story. And I think you're absolutely right with the fact that it's escapism and it's fantasy. But I think also at the core of it, I think the fact that it was a love story was why it won Best Picture.
Because everybody hates each other right now, and the country's so divided, and then we got a president who is just such a problem child, and every day you were waiting, what is the bad news now? What is the bad news now?
Oh, do you see the porn star is wants to come out with her story that he
I
did?
don't watch little tiny things like that.
It was on NPR.
No, that's not what I mean. It's like I just read the headlines and then I read in-depth stories more.
Yeah.
Because otherwise my mind goes crazy, So I don't follow the day-to-day news. I just read the headlines to be
Informed.
informed, very short. Don't need to hear too much about it. And then I just read in-depth articles about situations that we are dealing right now. What was I want to say? What did I?
Could you smart about the Shape of Water, and we're living in these times of hate and discord and
shit. I had like this really great ending, and now I missed my opportunity.
You can find
anyway. So I guess what we really want right now is the opposite: a love story, fantastical. And also kind of standing up for the people who are the outsiders of the society. Because, we got a president who does not like any outsiders.
Well, I like that. You had a good observation about the movie last night after we watched it. And you said Guillermo del Toro is an outsider because he's from Mexico. And that the movie was... The Shape of Water was about outsiders. The woman is a mute, and the man is a fish. Do you remember what you were saying?
Yeah, and then Olivia is, she's black, and then you got this other guy who is he's not an outsider, he's Russian. But anyways, yeah. So Guillermo del Toro makes movies about immigrants, makes movies about outsiders. Because he is an outsider, right? I mean, he's an immigrant, and he's incredibly talented. I loved his last movie. I think it's called Pan, because I always get mixed up with Pan's Labyrinth. Is that a David Bowie movie?
I'm not sure. You mentioned that.
Oh no, the Labyrinth is the David movie. Whatever. I think it's called the Pan's Labyrinth or the Pan or whatever. But that one is a horror movie, and it's quite astonishing. It's it's very much about, you can really see it's about immigrants, This one is more a love story, but it's also about outsiders and, not fitting in. And it was wonderful. Oh, and that's it. The neighbor is a gay person.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, wow, yeah. That was an interesting scene when he puts his hand on the guy's hand in the diner pie shop.
Yeah.
And says, "I'd like to get to know you better." And the guy goes, "Hey, buddy, watch it."
Yeah.
And then this
he's a racist,
black couple comes in and they try and sit at the counter. can only order takeout, and then so in like the space of 10 seconds, it's revealed that this guy is a homophobe and a racist.
Yeah.
And the gay friend, his only friend is the mute girl.
Yeah.
You know.
So it's all about. Sorry, that's our phone. It's all about people who are not who are. How do you say this when you push somebody away in your grip?
Rejected.
Yeah, there's all these people who are rejected and they they can't fit in society or just a little tiny group of friends. And that was, I think, well, anyways, my point is that we got a president who does that. And this movie was more the opposite, like, hey, if you don't fit in, no, we're all people.
I'm starting to be more hopeful about these times, especially like what those kids in Parkland, Florida have done, and the movement, and this big march that's going to happen in Washington, D.C. on March 24th. Our friends that we went to the Oscar party with are flying to D.C.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to be in Las Vegas that week.
And you're gonna
I'm going to go wherever.
I'm gonna go too.
They're marching in Vegas, and that's pretty exciting. That some sensible gun control might actually come to this country, and that this big, powerful NRA monster will not control every aspect of
our politics.
And then also, just all these stories. Did you see the Russians poisoned another former agent spy in Salisbury, England, and his daughter?
Yeah.
And this Stormy Daniels prostitute thing. There's just like there's so much nasty shit happening in the world that the straw's got to break the camel's back at one point, where people just stand up and go, wait a minute, things are just too fucked up and too ridiculous, and I'm not going to take it anymore.
Well, I think there's always a backlash, and I like that because everything comes back to its balance. I like that. There's always this yin and yang. There's always something that is opposite happening, and I like that.
Yeah, well, I'm reminded of the Winston Churchill quote. The United States always does the right thing after it has exhausted every other option.
Oh, that's great. I like that. Yes.
Yeah. And hey, speaking of Winston Churchill, I love Gary Oldman, but I was very disappointed with his Oscar acceptance
What was his acceptance speech?
Well, I mean, he said he was going to go home and put on tea with his mom, but...
Oh, I love that part. How did he say that? I love that. He said,
I like that
Mom,
part.
I'm coming home. Why don't you put the kettle on?
Put on the kettle.
Oh, that's so cool.
It's so English.
But that's come on.
I like that part, but I guess I was expecting something a little more stirring from the guy.
Are you mean political?
Not political, but the guy. I thought the guy should have won the Oscar for Drexel in True Romance.
That's too far reached. Who do you think I should have won the Oscar for Best Actor? I guessed right because
no, we all guessed Gary Oldman, and the guy's had an amazing career. It's like you love to see someone who's worked his ass off his whole career be rewarded.
Yeah, but I think that Gary Oldman. I mean, he did the best Winston Churchill. There's a lot of actors that did Winston Churchill, including one of my favorites in what's his
John Lithgow in The Crown.
John Lithgow.
I liked John Lithgow's Winston Churchill maybe a little more, but
he was endearing. Is that the word?
Endearing.
Enduring. He was enduring, but I think Gary Oldman was the exact Winston Churchill.
Yeah.
Arrogant, crazy, but also...
I'm coming out of the bathtub. He's naked and he comes out the door.
So I think that's why he won that Oscar, not because of his career.
Yeah, well, I love Gary Oldman. I was happy he won. And then I thought it was one of the most enjoyable Oscars
Me too.
I've seen in years. Apparently,
I
the
loved
ratings
it.
were down, but it was probably one of my favorite Oscars.
Maybe because so we don't have a television, right?
Well, we have a TV, but we just watch Netflix.
And we were like a few days before the Oscars, we were thinking, oh no, where should we watch the Oscars?
Yeah.
We don't have a party going on. Where should we watch it? Should we just go to a restaurant, like in a sports bar? That wouldn't be fun. So we texted all our friends, right?
Yeah.
And gladly we got invited to this big Hollywood house. And it was super fun. It was a lot of nice food, a lot of nice people around. And we saw the thing on a big screen TV.
Yeah.
And I think we were just so happy that it worked out for
Yeah.
us. That we were-
I think you're right. That we didn't have to sit in like some bar by ourselves like some losers.
And then read the subtitles that will come up with no sound, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that's why, because it was the best Oscars for us.
Yeah, it was great. And what did you think of the Frances McDermott speech?
Oh, I loved it. So Frances McDormand is my favorite of this year's Oscar.
You wanted her to win.
I wanted her to win so bad.
I wanted that Shorsa woman from
Yeah.
Lady Bird.
Yeah.
That's who I had picked.
I wanted to win so bad that this is the first time when they called out the and the winner goes to that I looked at the lips and I was hoping that the first movement would come out was an Frances McDormand. It's like say it, and she said it, and another person who was at the party, also from Europe, we were like yes, because we both loved the movie.
The Scottish woman.
Yes.
She goes. Whenever a few people would win an award, she would go, well deserved. Well deserved.
Yeah. if she was disagreeing, well deserved.
Well deserved. Well deserved. I thought that's a really, really smooth thing to say. The Frances McDermott speech, where she talked about the inclusion contract, that everybody should ask for an inclusion contract, and then it turns out, I'm sure everybody's heard this now, that
and you should.
you can insist on diversity.
Yeah.
In the casting. And so the thing that I keep hearing over and over, since we've been in LA, is they just want diversity. And my manager keeps saying, it's not a good time to be a white guy. He keeps saying, sorry, everybody's looking for diversity. It's not a good time to be a white guy. And I keep telling my manager, in these diverse films, they still need to kill a white person. So I would like to be murdered in these films of diverse stories. And I've been practicing being, I like choked. I've been, now I'm being stabbed. And I've been practicing like getting shot. You
should do a joke about that. That's funny.
I think in all these diverse stories that everybody's insisting on, they're still going to need, a clown in the dunking booth.
And then when people get you shoot at you, you could be going, but I'm half Argentinian.
Yeah, it's funny. I've never considered myself a white guy, but Hollywood keeps telling me that I'm a white guy.
I think you are telling yourself you're a white guy.
My manager keeps telling me
That's
it's
because
not a
your
good
manager,
time to be a white guy.
It's because your manager doesn't want to do too much work for you.
Yeah.
No, I think it's easy to say because that's what he gets back from people. It's not, hey, that client is a white guy. All he hears from the networks is, hey, we need more diversity. Can you just give me a list of your diversity clients?
Right.
Yeah, it's not like literally they're saying no white guys. So I mean, it's not that bad. I think this is what we need right now, because we need to see stories and films and movies and whatever where it's normal to see, like a movie like Black Panther. It's normal to see heroes who are female, heroes who are from different cultures, because it's normal for everybody to be included and to dream of being someone.
No, I agree, and this has been a big year. And you and I talked about this after we saw Wonder Woman. It was great that it's this ass kicking woman, and you and I walking home from the movie theater that night, you were like doing kicks like Wonder Woman, and we talked about how the effect that that's going to have on
Little
on little
girls.
girls everywhere. And then we saw Black Panther in this past week, about 3 or 4 days ago. We both loved it, and that for just all, and I loved that it was the king also had this army of women. The women in that story helped him kick ass and win his kingdom back, and just I loved Black Panther. It was great. I mean, forget the fact that it's based in Africa and all this stuff. It was just a great superhero story, you know.
Yeah, but it's more than that. It's I love that it's becoming such a culture change. That movie is demarcation of, okay, there was before Black Panther,
Yeah.
it was all this, and after Black Panther, it's all this now. Like
Right.
huge difference, huge cultural shock change for this world, and I am so happy about that. And it's not because only that girls can dream of being a superhero. It's really the simple moments of everyday life. When you go to a supermarket, for example, and see somebody from a different culture, that in that millisecond that you don't have that prejudice in your mind, like, oh, well, I'm not gonna say examples because that's hurtful, but in that 1 milliseconds, you can imagine that people have prejudices of how people just look like, and because of all these movies coming out with diversity, that 1 second in your head is gonna be changed, because now you're gonna see people more equal, and you're not gonna see, you're not gonna label that person, oh, that person is from that culture, so that person belongs there, and that status, social status, and maybe doesn't speak great English. You're not gonna have that in a millisecond, hopefully. It's just gonna go, oh, okay, oh, sorry, excuse me. You're just gonna respect that person in the same level as you. Just simple moments, everyday life.
I've always been like that.
No, 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 no. No, I disagree. Everybody has prejudice.
Yeah, true. I read it that in the week this week there was a little thing on Chadwick Boseman, the star of Black Panther, and I thought he was European, but it turns out he grew up in Anderson, South Carolina, which I think that's where Jim Rice is from. He was a
Who's Jim Rice?
baseball player I loved in the 80s who played for the Boston Red Sox.
Okay.
But it's a small-ish town in South Carolina, and in the interview he talked about the racism he had dealt with growing up. So, like, what a great victory in his life grew up in South Carolina, which is, pretty southern and racist.
The state where that's racist, yeah.
That's where that shooting happened at the Mother Emanuel Church in Charleston.
Right.
And the, legacy of the Civil War and all that shit. I mean, what a great top of the mountain victory as an actor. And
What a great opportunity for him to be in the movie that brought such a big culture change to the world. Yeah. Yeah, hooray. Hooray for humanity.
Hooray for humanity. Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was a great film.
So, do you want to talk about the Oscars a little bit more?
Yeah, well, let me say one last thing about my manager. This is the same manager who, when I lived in New York, when I lived in the Wall Street area, kept telling me, yeah, nothing's happening in New York. There's absolutely nothing happening in New York. And meanwhile, I would walk out of my apartment building at 71 Broadway and literally trip over film cables from all the film trucks. They were like constantly filming in the Wall Street area. in the neighborhood where I lived.
You love that joke,
He
huh?
said, "Yeah, nothing's happening in New York." I would walk out of my building. I'm sorry. Could you hold on a second while we get this scene? We're like,
That's a long time ago. Your manager doesn't even have the same molecules in his body.
oh, and Phantom Thread. If I haven't said this on the podcast already, my favorite thing about Phantom Thread was it was filmed on Fitzroy Square in London, and that's where Rich Hall used to live when I had a key to his apartment.
Somebody said when you said that story, you said, "Oh, the greatest thing was seeing that the house was in front of that square, right?" And then somebody said, and then you said, "Yeah, Rich Hall used to give me his key to his apartment, so that's why I love that square so much." And then somebody said, "Oh, I love that people used to do that. Just give them their key." It's like, oh my God,
Yeah.
the world has been so vicious now that
Yeah.
it's impossible to do
Friends
that. you know?
used to give each other keys to their apartments. It's the way it was.
Yeah. Now it's Airbnb. You gotta pay for this.
Yeah.
Lock up the closets.
Oh, hey, and my favorite thing about Black Panther, if I haven't said it already, I loved where they fought when somebody would challenge for the
Yeah.
king on that water ledge.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really, really cool.
When they showed that mountain with all the people standing on the mountain,
Yeah.
it reminded me of this Cyndi Lauper song music video.
Which one?
I don't know. It's where everybody's like, "Dun-dun," and then everybody's clapping and.
Money changes everything.
No, it's something about culture and bringing the world together.
Oh.
A very famous Cyndi Lauper song.
She had Time After Time. Girls just wanna
Okay,
have
what's
fun.
the third one?
Girls Wanna Have Fun, Time After Time, and Money. Those were her three big hits.
I don't know money. Okay, I'll look it up. My favorite thing about Black Panther was that ape, the ape character, and I heard on NPR that character of the ape man is a little bit mocked in the comic books, and that the director of this movie actually made him not be like, black people. Oh, this person looks like a monkey. Ha ha ha! Right? That's in the comic book, but in the movie, he was portrayed like, "Hey, I'm a tough, cool. We love monkeys." Kind of.
You mean the
attitude.
guy who lived up into the mountains? That guy?
He was my favorite character. Yeah, with the woolly, fluffy thing on his shoulders.
The one who tells the white guy.
Who lived in the ice.
Yeah,
in the
he
snow.
tells the white guy, if you say one more word, we're gonna eat you.
Yeah,
And then he goes, "I'm just kidding. We're all vegetarians."
I loved him. He had a British accent, right?
Yeah, They all had this kind of British, African.
And then one time
see.
he says Hanuman. Did you notice that?
Uh-uh.
Hanuman is the Indian ape god.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I did not.
So he
know.
was my favorite character, and I really liked that the sister was this. What is the sidekick
It's
of
like
James
a scientist.
Bond?
Yeah. She was like the smart scientist. Yeah, that was a great.
And she was
character.
getting enthusiastic every time she needed something.
I loved the brother sister. It reminded me of me and my sister.
Yeah.
And I think any brother sister would relate to that. I really like that.
I didn't. I thought, wow, I used to have a brother. I don't have a brother anymore.
I don't either.
No, I mean, my brother is like
Estranged,
estranged.
as is my brother.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now I'm getting sad.
And that's why we have movies, to forget about...
It took me a whole hour to get into the movie.
the Black Panther.
Yeah, it took me an hour. The first few scenes, I thought, what?
Yeah, the
What is
first
happening
the
now?
first scene, I thought, oh my god, this isn't going to be like a train wreck. There was like the very first scene, like
Something was like bad.
something
thought.
at the beginning. There was like one scene where like the acting was like it was like
A little bit, something was off. Yeah.
right.
I couldn't tell what it was, and then all of a sudden, like maybe 20 minutes in, I thought, oh, there's something off here. I don't know what it is, but one element was really that we had to go along that the character was losing had lost his dad, right? And it went to the ancestor world.
Oh right.
But at this point, I was thinking, I don't care, you know. I haven't even seen your dad first or the memories that you have because it has to be built up in the honest way, right? You have to love their connection, and then when the character dies, you're like, oh no, right? And that didn't happen because we didn't see the dad. So I thought, oh, this is not is this not good writing? You know, I don't know much about movies, but something was off. And then it took me an hour to get into it. Because after an hour, you figure out how this whole family dynamics is being sorted out. How you say it? Arranged or
Yeah. Well, you said it
related.
best after the film. You said that they had not portrayed the father enough of his story for you to care about the father at that point.
Yeah.
That there was nothing. They just showed the son who's now the king talking to his dad, and it wasn't like there was nothing. There was no history.
Yeah.
That made you go, oh, the dad was a great guy or something.
No, that you actually care that the dad died. Because at that point I was, yeah, okay. You know, the dad died. Okay, I had not seen the dad, and I don't know what is happening. It came later in the story.
Well, the funny thing about your and I relationship is you love movies where cities are being destroyed. And you love any movie where a city's being destroyed. And also, you kind of like these big blockbuster movies. I'm not that crazy. Like, I kind of avoid superhero movies. Like, there's.
The Marvel, you mean?
Well, I mean, but it's like, how many Spider-Mans can they make? I cared for the first 5, 6, and Batman, and all. You try and stick with it, and they keep remaking these same stories over and over. I think I love Black Panther for its freshness. It was like, oh, here's characters I've never seen before. I'm sure it will be beaten to death, and they'll make 10 episodes of it, but
You mean Marvel or Black Panther?
Black Panther.
Okay.
But I mean, that's just what they do with movies. They just
Yeah.
remake these same ideas. But I loved it because it was new and it was fresh.
Yeah. Yeah, and much more. The Angela Bassett. She's so beautiful, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there were lots of elements I loved. But it took me an hour to get into it.
Oh,
Definitely.
it didn't take me that long, but I enjoyed it. So,
And those the bodies that when they're fighting was so beautiful. I can imagine they're training hard to get a body like that, no?
yeah.
Whew.
So did you want to talk about anything else from the Oscars? Because I do know one last thing that we need to talk about.
The movie.
That we-
After school?
Yeah.
Yes!
I didn't know if you remembered or not.
I did.
So one thing you can do as a Patreon, is it only the top level people?
Yeah, if you are a patron and you sponsor us $20, the thing that we give back, because we give back a lot of things when you sign up. It's like Kickstarter. So when you pay the $20, you give us a movie we review for you.
Well, yeah. So aside from getting a postcard from me once a month, you can send us movies to request that we will watch it and review it. So Kristen sent us 3 movie suggestions. One of them was we couldn't. We wanted to try and watch it last night, but it wasn't on Netflix, wasn't online. I wanted to see this movie Lock with Thomas Hardy.
Yes.
So we're still gonna watch it, but then when we Googled it, I saw Thomas Hardy was in that movie Bronson, this British English British prison movie.
Where he had
Where he's this
fluffy hair?
No, he's this. This movie is really cool. He's just this badass guy who just keeps fighting all the prison guards.
Oh, he's bald.
Yeah.
Yeah, Thomas Hardy is handsome. I
And
really
there's
like
this
him.
great scene in Bronson where he covers himself in like Vaseline
Really?
And
I
he
got
just-
to see that movie.
He starts punching this guard, and then all these guards run in, and like 20 guards are trying to like get him, but he's all covered in
Oh, I remember
Vaseline,
that.
and he's just beating the shit. Really, really intense movie.
Oh, that movie's intense.
Yeah,
It's
really
like violent, right?
violent, hugely
Oh
violent.
shit! Yeah.
So, I want to watch that movie that she suggested. I want to see as much from Thomas Hardy as I possibly can. But
he was in Dunkirk too.
oh, really?
Yeah, he played the hero in the airplane.
Oh, cool. I got to see Dunkirk.
You gotta see Dunkirk.
I gotta see
I love
Dunkirk.
Dunkirk.
I think it won Best Sound Mix.
It won something, yeah.
Yeah, it won a couple.
Dunkirken. Dunkirk.
Is that how you say it in Dutch?
Yeah, I think it's in Belgium, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Dunkirken.
So one of Kristen's suggestions to us, and it's on YouTube.
So that's why we watched it.
We
because
watched
was
it
on
last
YouTube.
night.
But no worries, we can buy stuff on Amazon. It's just, it was late and we thought, we got to do this podcast. We want to, we want to be loyal to Kristen.
Yeah.
So we watched it, yeah.
Well, yeah, and we'll still watch and review we'll have a Thomas Hardy marathon. But so we watched this after school special movie that she suggested. It's from 1971, and the movie's
called
JT.
JT.
And it's about this young black ghetto kid. And
It's super old. That's what it is.
really
it's so
old.
Cute.
He's got a single mother.
It's like all the sounds are off and the cameras are very creative, very amateuristic, right?
But the thing is I remember the after school specials very well.
Because I didn't know what an after school special is. What?
They were kind of like, it was like an event when you were a kid. They made a bunch of them, and they would come on after school.
It's so funny.
Like around 3:00, 4:00.
Before dinner.
Before your mom and dad got home from work, because my parents worked. And so it was before dinner. And I remember watching, you go home after school, and then
And they're all short
you
stories.
get
right?
home at school gets out at 2, and then you're home at 2:30, and then boom, it's you're turning on the TV, and here's the after school special. So they always had a theme, and they always had a like a moral. They were little.
So short stories.
They were short stories that would teach kids, kind of how to act, and they were little life lessons.
Yeah.
So what'd you think of JT?
Does this still exist?
No, they.
I would love to
It should bring
reignite
back.
that.
Yeah, it should bring back the after
Oh
school
my god!
special.
Why don't you and I make after school
Okay,
specials?
okay.
That's so fun. Yeah.
Yeah, because so he's like a kid with a single mom, and then he steals a radio, and these mean kids, these bullies, they're trying to get the radio from him, and then he's like playing around in this abandoned apartments or whatever. There's glass on the floor. He's walking around.
Wait. So JT is a good kid, right? That's
Well, he steals a radio.
no. He's a good kid. He lives in the ghetto. You can see this. Where he lives. The house is gonna be
Demolished.
demolished.
Yeah,
It has
everything.
red stripes.
Yeah.
And they share bathrooms in the whole apartment. The kid is, in essence, the kid is a good kid. But he gets temptation, right? And he has to choose between the bad and the good. So he steals his radio in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
And then there are 2 other kids who are really bad. They're just bad kids. And they try to steal the radio from him. So the first 15 minutes is about him and these kids. Him being chased by these kids because they want their radio. And the scenes are so funny because you can really feel when you're a kid and these 2 other kids, tall kids, are chasing you. And you got this 70s music, the 70s danger music going.
The 70s danger music. That's exactly what it was.
Yeah. It's so funny, man. And then he hides everywhere. He runs. You see him running, and the camera's on his feet running, And then you hear "Dude," and you see a shot at the other kids running. It's just hilarious, but it's still good. It's still a good story and a good portrayal of the story.
Well, it's good. And then so he's hanging out, running from these kids who
Yeah.
want to beat him up and take his radio. So he goes to this abandoned apartment
And
building.
he hides there.
And he hides in this dilapidated old building, and there is a stray beat up cat in the building.
With a bad eye or a wounded.
The cat's wounded. Looks like somebody like cut his face or something.
He's very skinny.
Yeah, raggedy looking, and so now he's got a friend.
He's got a friend, and his mom is pretty hard on him because his mom has bad troubles or whatever. So she's just saying this and that to him. So he feels a little bit maybe alone or something. And then he because his dad was gone, or his dad died. I don't know what the story was. There was something with the dad.
I forget.
But the dad left.
He was absent.
Yeah, he was absent, and after the dad left, he changed. That's what his mom's kind of hinting at in the beginning. So I think when he saw that cat, he kind of thought, "Oh, the cat is broken, like I am broken."
Right.
And he wants to take care of the cat, kind of like he wants to take care of himself, because nobody's taking very good. He's not taking good care of himself. He's skipping school. He's stealing radio. He's just winging it. He's not thinking about being a good kid. But he's good inside. And I think this movie is about him making choices, that he's responsible for his act to be a good kid. So anyways, he sees this cat, he wants to take care of it. I think that is his reflection of his person on the cat.
That's a great observation. But so the mom has an account at this local little mom and pop grocery store, and it's like some Hungarian immigrants or something like that who they have accents. Who knows where they're supposed to be from?
I was hoping Dutch.
Some older Eastern European couple or whatever. So he's supposed to get some bread and milk on the account for his mom, and then he gets cans of tuna fish for the cat, and then he keeps hanging out with the cat. He keeps getting more and more tuna fish, and then the mom, who's working her ass off to pay the rent, finds out. She goes in to pay the bill
because the groceries is on loan.
Yeah, putting it on her account.
And the kid goes back every day since he's seen the cat to take care of the cat. He finds his oven and puts the cat in the oven and takes care of him. And he builds a little tiny house for him. He protects him. Gives him a.
It's gonna rain. He puts an umbrella over it.
Yeah. So and then one day he puts his radio in the oven with the cat, thinking, the cat likes it because he likes it, right? So the cat must like it too. Yeah, and then he goes to get more and more tuna, and then
the mom goes to pay the bill, and then she's expecting a small bill, and it's like $41, and she's like, "What?" And the guy's like, "Yes, I thought he was getting too much tuna fish." I don't know. I only do one accent. So then he's busted. But I mean, what's the morality tale there? Don't.
What do you mean?
What's the lesson that you don't bring up cans of tuna fish on your mom's account?
That was exactly it. Because at the end, I'm not going to close the end yet. Because the whole great scene of this whole amazing after school special is his grandmother.
Yeah. So what did the grandmother? And I thought that character was really goofy, and very outdated. Almost, I don't know.
Who?
The grandmother.
Oh,
her dialogue.
The grandmother looks like the grandmother on the Tom and Jerry.
Yeah, but so she was, honey, honey, but there was one really funny dialogue. What did she say?
Okay, so here's what happened. One day he puts a radio in the cat's in the the broken oven where that's his little housey. He even puts a welcome wooden board for the cat. So he puts his radio in there, and then, he leaves for school and comes back after school every day, to bring the tuna. And then one day he discovers that the two guys, the tall guys who were chasing him, found the radio. And they found the cat, right? So
Yeah.
they found the radio. He doesn't know that they find the cat. So he tried to get the radio back, and they're throwing the radio to each other, and he's too short to catch it. And then all of a sudden he catches it, and then the guy has another card. It's the cat, and he grabs the cat and he says, JT, look what I have. It's either the radio or it's the cat. And then he thinks, shit, I gotta get my cat. Who cares about the radio? So he runs for the cat, and then, long story short, the tall guy stumbles in a very amateuristic
Like a 1971 after school special. He stumbles very badly, and then the cat gets thrown out into the street and gets run over and killed by a car.
just like that. And JT is so sad, and he's crying. This is not a sad kid. He's mad and he's angry. He doesn't understand what just happened. Some people are trying to comfort him. Hey, JT, hey, it's okay. It's like, leave me alone. And he's thinking, why did this happen? I don't understand. Why did this have to happen? He was my friend. And then the grandma comes in, and then she says, JT, when you start your life, you're like just an itty teeny human being, and you have all these questions.
Good.
And then when you grow old, you have the same questions. And somewhere in between, you think that you can answer these questions. Something like that.
That was it.
Like,
That's funny. When you're young, you got questions. And when you get older, you got the same questions. But somewhere in between,
You
think
think.
you got the answers.
Yeah.
It was like, what the fuck is this dialogue?
I loved it.
You loved it. I thought it was like, who wrote this shit? It's so funny. But I guess it's kind of true. When you're young, you got all these questions.
Yeah.
And when you're older, you got
You
the
got
same
the same
questions.
questions.
But in somewhere in between.
You think that you have the answer to these questions. I love that. It's so true.
Okay, I guess that was a good life lesson.
Yeah.
And don't put cans of tuna fish on your mom's account when she can't afford it.
But then it has a good ending, because the grocery guy, who I think is also the guy who kills the cat accidentally.
Hey, they
Right?
could only afford...
No, that's not true.
They could only afford so many parts.
That's funny.
Hey, we put on a different hat and you drive the car that kills the cat.
He brings the little kid a little tiny new cat. The kid doesn't want it, because he misses his friend, because his friend was broken, right?
Right.
And then he gets his new cat, and he doesn't even give him a chance, the new cat. But then, like new cats are, I'm sorry, baby cats. How you call them? Kitties?
Kittens.
Kittens are so cute. So he starts to like the cat. And I think him just being reborn as well, being a new person, like the little tiny kitten, not being broken anymore. And this time he's not going to steal tuna fish anymore. And this time he just wants to be a good kid. So he's got a new cat, and he's going to be also a new person. So he brings back the radio in the car, right?
Yeah.
He puts it back in the car. And then he goes to the grocery guy and he says, I want to start working. Because he wants to afford the tuna for the new cat.
Wow. I'm so glad you told me this, because I don't know if you caught this, but I fell asleep the last 5 minutes. And
You did not hear.
I missed the...
Because it was so late.
I didn't realize he brought the radio back, and I didn't realize he goes to the old man to ask for a job.
Yeah,
So
he
now
did.
it's got a really great story.
Yes. And then they both say, you know what? JT says like this. And the camera is on his back, and his head is looking at the camera.
Yeah.
And he said, You know what? It's starting to look like Christmas.
Ah, ha, ha.
It's such a great, heartwarming story.
Well, that's really nice that he goes to get a job from the old dude.
Yeah, because that's how he's gonna take care of the tuna. He wants to be a good kid. Yeah, you have to make good choices to be a good kid.
Wow. Well, they always had like great life lessons on those things. Have you ever heard this expression? The sweetest kittens have the sharpest claws. You ever heard that expression?
No.
Okay. Anyway, but that just popped into my head. I felt like sharing it. My favorite
Yeah.
after school special of all time. So you and I writing new after school specials would be a great idea.
Thank you, Kristen.
Thank you, Kristen. Thanks for suggesting that. Now that was probably her favorite after school special. My
hope so.
favorite after school special, which I would love to find on YouTube or whoever.
If anybody finds this, please send it to us.
Please send it. There was this great after school special where this kid keeps peeing the bed. He's a bedwetter. And he's got a mean mom. And the mom, to punish him, hangs the sheets. They live in like a 2-story house in this nice neighborhood, a regular neighborhood. And the mom would hang the sheets outside of the upstairs windows so that everybody in the neighborhood could see that the kid peed in the bed, to like shame him. I mean, I'm sure to dry it as well, but basically to shame him so he would stop peeing the bed. So in this after school special, they show like school gets out and the kid just like runs home and he's running through the neighborhood and he would like hurdle over bushes and just he would run. He'd get home just in time, like moments before the school bus drove by his house. He would run upstairs and he would pull the sheet in. And then the end of the after school movie is he becomes an Olympic runner. And the fact that he had to run home and pull these piss sheets inside so the other kids didn't see it was what made him a great champion runner and sprinter.
That's so great.
I would love to find it. So it's a great morality tale. If you piss the bed, one day you could be an Olympic champion.
Oh my God, we should definitely write up some great after school specials.
I'll have to think about it. I love it.
That's such a funny story.
Cool. Well, I have an early flight to Calgary.
Well, early, you mean you have to leave 3 a.m.?
Yeah, to get there at 4. My flight is at 6. Come see me in Sacramento next week at the Punchline. The week after that, I'm in Las Vegas at the Laugh Factory. And then I'm going to Bangkok, Manila, Hanoi, Ho Chi Minh City, Singapore, Hong Kong. And then we're gonna do the Moon Tower Festival in Austin,
Yeah.
Texas, and then I think anyway, check out tomrhodes.net.
Lake Tahoe?
I'm coming to your town. And
Where are you
then
going to go tomorrow?
I just booked the Philadelphia Punchline for the last week of June. I've got some improv dates coming up. I'm gonna play Pittsburgh for the first time in my life. Pittsburgh is one of the only places in America I never played.
Pittsburgh.
And play the Pittsburgh Improv like in August.
Who's from Pittsburgh? Doc Seno?
Steve Byrne. No, stand-up is from Worcester, Massachusetts. Billy Gardell.
Oh, Billy Gardell.
Steve
That's
Byrne.
Yeah.
Lots of people.
Nice.
Okay, so that's it. Any words of wisdom for the people? If you pee the bed, you imagine Olympic gold.
Don't steal radios.
Okay, well, Smoochie, I love you very much.
What is your... wait a minute. You're just like putting me out there. What is your words of wisdom for the people?
I think these are... I was... it's easy to get depressed with all the bad shit that's going on in the world. But I think there's a lot of reasons to be hopeful and cheerful. And I loved the Oscars, and it seems like the tide of humanity is something nice is happening. And
Something is happening, huh?
something's happening right now.
Do you feel it?
Oh yeah, and like
That's the shape
the
of love.
the pro women's movement, the diversity movement in entertainment, and
The gun laws.
the gun laws.
People standing together. That's more.
Power
That's
to the
behind.
people.
That's behind the gun laws. People standing together.
Yeah, well, I think people standing together is probably the encapsulating great thing that's happening right now. I think that's basically what's happening.
That's the shape of love.
That is the shape of love. And
You know what? It is starting to look like the shape of love.
you know what? It's starting to look a lot like Christmas. Cool, Smoochie. Well, if ever I'm being held in a government experiment and I've got a fish body, I hope you would steal me and put me in your bathtub until the rains came and you could free me in the canal.
I'll bring you eggs.
Thanks, Smoochie.
You probably need the protein. Then we can fill up the whole bathroom with water. Oh, that's so nice.
That'd be awesome. It can drip down in the movie theater below.
Yeah.
Okay, babe. Well, I love you very much, and it's time for me to go.
Thank you for listening.
Shalom, amigos.
And amigas.
Amigas. And if you've never heard this song by Matthew Sweet, prepare to have your world rocked.
I wanna love somebody. I hear you need somebody to love. Oh, I wanna love somebody. I hear you looking for someone to love. 'Cause you need to get back in the arms of a good friend. And I need to get back in the arms of a girlfriend. I didn't know nobody, and then I saw you coming my way. I didn't know nobody, and then I saw you coming my way. Don't you need to get back in the arms of a good friend? Oh, 'cause honey, believe me, she'll love to call you my girlfriend. Alright.
time, if you want to give and support us or donate, Patreon, Patreon.com, patreon.com/Tom Rhodes Radio Smart Camp. And if you want to enrich your life with wisdom and laughter, you can buy my brand new album, All Hail Laughter, on iTunes and Amazon. It's a double album, and it will certainly enrich your life with laughter. Enjoy.